Yeah, it was a weird game. I don't think we got above okay. Like, we weren't horrible, we weren't outstanding. We just sort of hovered around that, okay mark. So, and which was a bit disappointing, but we were pretty unsettled with the 5 changes. Not that that's an excuse, but yeah, we just couldn't get our game going. Had a little period. I think the start of the last quarter, the first 15 minutes, we were 3-0, and then the last 15 minutes they were 3-0, and I think that sort of tells a story of the day as a whole. Was just really patchy.
Keep that down. Anything, I guess, from your end, or?
No, not at all. I think probably a bit of unsettlement with the lineup and those sorts of things. So, not quite sure. One of those days. Yeah.
What I missed last week with the changes, they were forced, or did you?
Yeah, they were all forced. We had obviously Mick, Blake McCulloch with their injuries, and then some illness hit as well late in the week. So we had 5 guys go out, 1 on Saturday morning, 1 on Friday, and 3 on the Thursday night. So yeah, it was just a little bit unsettled, but it's not an excuse. We still put 22 guys out there that we expect to do the job.
Are they back this week? Those guys that missed, or?
Probably not. With the bye next week as well, like Blake McCulloch's ankle is okay. It's one of those scenarios. If it was a final, you'd find a way to get him over the line. But with the bye next week, I think we just give him another week. And Mick's hamstring obviously is after the bye. Brady Reeves' illness, which is still hanging around, so he hasn't been able to train much. So we'll probably err on the side of the caution as well with him. Like, if he hasn't been able to train for a couple of weeks, like he's been crook since after the Glenorchy game. So if you haven't put the work in, we need 22 fit blokes with plenty of energy, especially against North Lonnie. So Brady probably will miss too.
They were obviously pretty red hot last week. So yeah, how do you approach this game?
Look, we've just got it's about earning a bit of respect for us, this game. Like, across the journey, I think especially the last couple of years when I've been, North Launceston put some hidings on us. So, we've got to earn the competition's respect and their respect. So it starts in the midfield with them. Obviously, Brad Cox-Goodyear is one of the better players in the comp. If Alex Lee's back, he's a ruckman that gives them first use. But, we like our midfield as well. Like, Matthews, Lovell, Clifford as well, going up against those guys is a battle worth watching. So probably looking at the weather forecast as well, it's probably going to be pretty tough and contested, which is probably what we're looking forward to. We think that's where we can try to match them and where we're going to have to match them. So it's just all about response. Also keeping in mind the last game, we lost by 113 points to them last game, so they got no reason to come in and respect us. So we've got to earn respect through our actions. So yeah, it's going to be a grind, a contested game, which I think we like.
You find yourself in the same position as a couple of weeks ago where you haven't beaten club, I guess, in your time in the TSL. Do you speak about that in the lead up at all, or was it just not spoken about?
Probably not, to be honest, not in this instance. We've probably more spoken about the last game against them and what that felt like and what we learnt from that. We've got to narrow that gap. 113 point loss, that's not really reflective of our group and where it's at, I don't think. So, and that's the best opportunity in the competition. We get to play North Lonnie again and try and earn some respect back from them, because, to be honest, what have they won? 4 out of the last 5 flags. So, if we can crack in really hard for 2 hours against them and show a really good performance, A, we'll give ourselves a chance to win the game, but B, also it's another step in our journey for the season.
Probably clear from the 5th best side. I know you spoke a little bit about needing to, maybe really push these teams above you. Does the group get despondent at all when you obviously can't do that? I know you pushed on the Hawkeye, but last week, for example, how's the mood when you haven't quite been able to get over the line against the top 4 side?
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit of frustration. Like, obviously we do set ourselves, we want to knock off one of those teams, A, that we haven't knocked off in the TSL, and B, that are above us on the ladder, because, that continues on that journey of earning respect. So I think probably sometimes against those teams and those contests, we probably put a lot of pressure on ourselves to try and get that done, and we don't go away from the way we play footy, but we're not free. So that's sort of, a real focus is playing our game this weekend, and just, the shackles are off. No one expects us to win on the weekend, or a lot of people probably don't expect us to be competitive and get within a bull's roar of them. So, we've got nothing to lose. So that's when you've got to take the game on and not tighten up. So, we've talked a bit about that this week, that, it's play free. Like play to our tricks, do the things that we can do. You know, we want to see Tyler Carter try and take contested marks. We want to see Elijah Reardon try and sit on guys' heads, because that's what he can do. You know, we want Marcus Davies, Jared Drew using the ball out of the back half, like just playing on and going and doing the things that they're good at. So we'll concentrate on us this week, playing to our strengths and what we can do. Obviously, there's some things we have to be wary about with North Lonnie that we've got to try and take away from them. But try and not be tight, not have that frustration, you know, when things don't go our way. And, you know, because, we desperately want to be one of those teams, because, you know, that'll be a great feather in our cap, potentially moving into September as well.
So, is Dodge right to go this week?
No, another week. Yeah, so he's had 2 weeks on the track now after his hammy, and we'll have another one this week, and then another full week next week. So, and he'll be right to go against Lonnie.
When, so he will definitely play then. You're confident
Yep.
with that?
Unless something happens from now until then, but that's the one that we're penciled in at this stage.
How good will he?
Yep.
How good will he be for you when you do get him?
Oh, look, I suppose you throw him into a forward-line mix with Henry and Saunders and Burge and Walsh as smalls. He's pretty damaging. We've seen what he can do. And I think Collingwood have seen what he can do. They've picked him up while he was injured, put him on their list and that sort of stuff in the VFL. So, you know, he's been playing some pretty good footy over there. It's pretty exciting for the club to have him back.
Is it hard for you to deny your premiership favourites now after what you did to North Lonnie?
Well, I suppose if you're on top, you're the favourite at this stage, and I suppose the favourite after round 18 will be whoever finishes on top, and that can change from now until then. So I suppose where we sit right now, we probably are. That will change in the first and second week of the finals as well. So it will go up and down a bit, but we just want to keep winning and give ourselves an opportunity to finish on top.
Nice to have a week off after that to sort of reset.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we've copped some floggings up there by him, and so to go up there and have a win, especially in pretty tough conditions. You know, the boys were pretty chuffed after the game. It's been a sad place for us over the last few years, so it was a good feeling, and good feeling to go into the bye having a good win.
Colin Garland was saying earlier in the week about his concerns about the future VFL team and, you know, what that talent pool looks like for you as a senior coach in the TSL, been around quite a while now. Are you still comfortable with the deadline that AFL has set to have this VFL team ready and have a lot of good local players playing at that level?
Yeah, look, it's a tough one, and Colin had some good points, but I think what we've got is we've got a group of people that are trying to take Tassie forward. You know, you've got Bolts and Fagan and Rewalt and these sort of guys, you know, putting their support behind it and their thoughts into it. So we're not going into it blind. So I think what has to happen is they probably need to get a coach together now and get started now. Keeping in mind that we haven't been accepted into the VFL, it's a proposal, so it's not 100% yet. I don't think. I believe it's going to go ahead, but so I hope that the work's getting done now. I don't think there's enough talent in the state to be competitive in the VFL. You're dealing with a pretty strong competition, so that's going to take a lot of organisation, and I think they need to probably have that started now. That even starting to recruit for next year in the TSL in readiness for those guys to then step up. So we've got a couple of guys that we want to bring over next year. There is a bit of I think there's 4 interstate players that you can have on your list. So that probably needs to be opened up for next year, and maybe some support to the clubs to get those players over now in readiness for the year after. But I think it's a pretty exciting time, and I know this is a bit of a wishy-washy thing for the AFL, not to have our team in the AFL, and it's a stepping stone. But I think it's pretty exciting if it's done properly and enough, I suppose, research and support goes into getting it done now.
Is it just a dollar thing that perhaps you might need from AFL Tasmania to go to the clubs to allow you to open up and pay some extra players?
I think so. I think there needs to be some financial support to the clubs to get those players over. As I said, we've got some players that want to come over next year. and that could be a bit of a carrot for them for the VFL for the following year. So, and they certainly don't come to Tassie for the weather. So, there's going to be some financial incentive for those guys to come over. And I think if we can do that, that certainly helps us the year after as well.
Do you have a dollar figure in mind at this stage? Do you have a dollar figure in mind at this stage as to what the clubs would need?
Well, not really. I mean, it's not huge per club because you're only playing maybe 2 players per club. So I don't think it's a huge figure per club. It might be $8,000 or $9,000 to get some of those guys over the line. And the clubs will contribute to that as well. But for those players that may be able to step up, only if they think they can step up to the Devils the year after. But I think a lot of planning needs to start now, and I'm sure there's planning already happening, but I think it probably needs to escalate now in readiness. It certainly can't be next year, halfway through the year, that we start looking at it. It needs to be done now.
So like you say, you've been looking at guys that aren't playing VFL at the moment, like these TAC Cup players that you've been...
Well, yeah, potentially TAC Cup players, but we've got a couple in Canberra that want to come down. They've got a couple in Northern Territory where we've got good ties up there that they want to come down as well. So there's a whole host of players. Henry has been approached by a couple of VFL clubs now for next year. So maybe we'll be able to hang on to him for another year and then throw him in as a Devils. So there's those sort of things that can happen. But it's going to take a lot to get organised, and I think they probably need to throw a bit of money into it now to get someone onto it. But they may already, I don't know, but I'm assuming they won't just go into a cold.
North Hobart, mate, what did you make of their win last week?
Yeah, look, I think it was great for the competition for them to have a win. Obviously they were striving to get that win and then maybe build their season on the back of that. So, we'll certainly go into the game with a fierce outlook on the first 10, 15 minutes to make sure that their enthusiasm can't get over the top of us. So we'll go pretty hard at that. But I think that's really good for the competition. And Bears put a lot of work and time and that into it. So I think it was a good reward for him as well to get a win.
The big boys, I guess. So Cole, first of all, how do you stop him this weekend? What did you like?
Yeah, look, it was funny. I listened to the interview and he was talking about a 31-year-old with tendonitis in his hamstring and shouldn't be able to kick 8. Well, I probably disagree. I reckon he should be kicking 6 to 8 every week. He's played, a heap of AFL football and good AFL football, and comes back to TSL. I actually think he should be kicking those goals. So, and his great grab, contested grab. So, obviously Trump will play on him, which I think he's state fullback, and I think that would be a really good contest. But I think Colin's probably sold himself short a little bit there. I think he's still got plenty to offer as a player, and he probably should be looking to kick 6 and 8 every week.
He's underperforming, is that what he's saying?
No, I just put a bit of pressure on him now. No. I think he's probably trying to be a little bit humble, but I think he's probably sold himself short a little bit. Yeah. I know he's had injury problems, but he's got some bloody tremendous experience coming back to our competition, and that's why he's regarded so highly over here.
Take a bit of confidence. We've got the monkey off our back, but we're under no illusions that they've been a clear standout team. Losing one game for the year, they're always hard to beat down there. So we've just got to go down there with a really strong mindset. It's going to be, obviously, they're really good at their contested footy, but their spread's been really good this year, and their leaders have been in outstanding form. So we've just got to go down there and play some one-on-one footy and match it really in close, and hopefully we can get enough isolation for our forwards and get the ball in there one-on-one, and you never know, we're capable, obviously, kicking 100 points last week. So, we go down there with a bit of confidence, but that's what one win does. So, but we understand it's going to be a really big ask.
How quickly did you have to tell the boys to put it behind them? I guess you obviously got to enjoy it for a little while. But
yeah, I said after the game, make sure you really enjoy Saturday night, which, they stuck around with each other for most of the night, which was great. But once Sunday morning came, it's back to preparing to play Lauderdale. Monday night was really good buy-in. Tuesday we had another solid session with a lot of match simulation. So they walked off the track feeling good about themselves, and just make sure tonight, fundamentally, everything's in the right place, and go down there with the right mindset on Saturday.
Should you expect a bag of goals from Cole every week? Or?
Oh, I'll be very happy if Cole kicks 6 or 8 a week. So that'll leave, what's that, 48 for the rest of the year. So I'll certainly take that.
It's harder for him, I guess, to get loose. He was saying, earlier in the week that got a few out the back, and that is it a bit harder to get those goals down at somebody like Scott?
Oh, if you can isolate your forwards head of the ball one-on-one, then obviously if we get it into the right spot, then Cole can do his work there. So, but whether Cole's kicking it or a Jaden Charlton who's going forward, Sam Daly, some good quality stock up there. So we've just got to make sure we've got some one-on-ones everywhere to give our forwards a chance.
Your ins and outs, mate?
Obviously winning. There's not going to be too many changes, so the squad will stay pretty similar to what it was last week.
Do you think Cole's going to go around again next year? Have you had started conversations about it?
No, I don't know, to be honest, Smithy. I hope he does, but it's up to him. Like if he doesn't feel he's capable or he doesn't have the desire to, then I have no issue. So, I mean, obviously from a club point of view, I hope he does. But if he wants to, retire, or I had no issues with that.
Have you had any conversations with him sort of over the course of the year about his intentions, or do you wait till the end of the year?
No, I'll just wait till the end of the year. I mean, obviously, being a coach, you're in constant dialogue with all your players. So, I mean, the amount of text messages Cole and I and the captain have on a daily basis, we've got to talk about the present, and we focus on the next 6 weeks.
You spoke about some differences of opinion at the club and stuff. How big a problem has that been, and are you sort of all on the same page now, I suppose?
Well, everyone's happy.
Good. There was differences of opinion, see that?
No, absolutely not. No, we're all on the same page, and as I said,
there has been, mate, in the past.
With Colin and I, no, not with Colin and I, no.
PK, you were hopeful of getting quite a few back this week. How is the injury list looking?
It looks a lot better. I mean, we could potentially get 13 back across the 2 teams this week, which would be nice. And it was nice on Tuesday to have 40 blokes out on the track, and be able to do good training sessions. So, assuming guys get through tonight, we'll be able to have 2 pretty strong teams out there on the weekend. Last week was tough for both our teams, but you move on really quickly. We're not the first team that's had a bad day up there against North Lonnie, and we just got a really important game this week against a really good team.
Yeah, obviously comes at a pretty good time when you're squabbling over sort of 3rd and 4th spot on the ladder to have a few more to pick from.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, last week, particularly our development guys, we only had 13 of them. And then we had a few doubling up from the under-18s, but a couple of the ones who were going to double up got injured in the under-18s, so it was a tough game for them. They soldiered on. The scoreboard doesn't reflect that, but they certainly had a dip. But this week they, in particular, get a lot of support back, which will be good.
Peter, you made a lot of people saying they could definitely win the flag, and obviously had some troubles with North Lonnie over the journey. Do you rate them pretty high?
Yeah, you just got to look down their list. I mean, you look up their forward line with Thorpe, Blackberry and Riley. And then some good young talent as well. Like Holt will sneak around there. Gillo's promising young player. So, Wright, if he goes forward, has some promise as well. So, and then through the midfield, when you've got Fletcher Seymour and Joby Harper, Tim Bristow is a really good experienced player, and then a tough ruckman like Leadham. That's a hell of a team. And they've done a great job this year bringing through the young guys that they've been building over the last couple of years. And on their day, they can beat anybody.
You also picked you apart last time when you played them at KG5 and able to set them on the journey they're on now.
Yeah, they were really good that day. It was one of those days where it was probably, if you look at our pressure numbers and you look at the GPS numbers and that sort of stuff, that was probably our worst game of the year. And they're way too good a team to be down against. And I think they're better now than they were then. They've got players back as well. Obviously, getting Dylan Riley in makes a huge difference. He's just so dangerous. He doesn't need a lot of the ball to be damaging, and Blackberry's getting fitter. So it's a challenge, but we certainly need to be a lot better than we were last time, and I'm pretty confident we will be.
What's the latest on Jay? He was getting the scans, I think, last week.
Yeah, so if Jay gets through tonight, he'll play. So yeah, certainly hoping that'll be the case.
Relief, I guess, that no serious damage.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't think there was, but the fact that it wasn't bouncing back the way we thought it should, we just wanted to be really sure. You know, it was a really major injury he had on it last year. We didn't want to get to the point where we'd let it drag on and missed something. Yeah, so I think the rest has done him good. He's got a bit of a bounce back in his step and mentally and physically, and yeah, hopefully he's out there on Saturday.
Obviously spent a bit of time in and around footy in Victoria and VFL and what have you, and Winky was just saying that, you know, now's the time we need to move to perhaps start building some TSL clubs up ready to take that next step back to the VFL. Is that something that you'd endorse based on your past history?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Looking at North Lonnie on the weekend, you know, you focus on their superstars, and there's a reason for that because they're really good. But what they've done really well this year, after losing quite a bit of experience, is the guys coming through their program from their underage to their development and to their seniors. They just come in seamlessly. Like, their program is exceptional. And, you know, it's something that Zane Littlejohn started, whatever it was, 6-7 years ago, and they've continued to build on, and players come and go and coaches come and go, but their program is rock solid. You look at Lauderdale, they've done the same thing. You know, I think this year North Lonnie will have played 7 years in a row in finals, and Lauderdale will be 8. And people focus on Lauderdale's recruiting, and they've gone hard with their recruiting, but the reason their recruits perform well is that they're coming in and they fit in on top of a core base that's been built the right way over a long period of time. So those two clubs have been the top two the past couple of years, North Lonnie for longer than that, and there's a reason for it. You know, they've gone about it the right way, they've built their clubs up, and I think when you look around the TSL, I think most of us are trying to emulate that now. And it's going to be really important because, you know, you bring in a VFL team, obviously some of the top players are going to move up and play in that competition. So you've got to have depth, and you've got to have, you know, junior players coming in each year, stepping up to TSL level. So, yeah, you've got to get that model right. You know, when I took over this job 2 years ago, our juniors didn't have an under-16s, and New Norfolk and Claremont in our zone didn't have an under-16s. And so, you know, that situation's something we've worked really hard to rectify. And, you know, our academy is something that we've put a lot of time into. We've had 35, 15 and 16-year-olds through that in the past 9 months. They're heading up to UTAS this Sunday to play against the North Lonnie sort of development under-16 team, the best of their under-16s. So it's something you've got to invest in and get right, or down the track, you know, things are going to fall in a hole.
Do you tap into, obviously, two good contacts in the VFL? Do you look at guys that might be on the fringe or younger kids coming through where you're saying, hey, try and get them, you know, talk to them about potentially coming here next year with an eye to a VFL campaign the year after?
No, look, I mean, my personal view is my job is to build footy and our club through the northern suburbs of Hobart. Now, I mean, we've had a little bit of a history of guys coming down from sort of the northwest, particularly Ulverston sort of region around there. We've probably got 7 or 8 of those guys on our list. But pretty much everybody else is from the northern suburbs of Hobart. And so I'm pretty passionate about that. We've got a heap of good kids. We don't have, I think, in the northern suburbs between under 15s and under 18s, there's 4 kids from our zone in the state talent program, and that's it. So the work we do with our kids in our zone is going to be massive to make sure that they've still got something to aspire to, and they're still being developed and improving their footy. So we have our next generation coming through. So, no, it's to be honest, I haven't chatted to any Victorians about coming to play for Glenorchy. You know, I talk to our guys who are interstate about coming back. Certainly really keen on that. But no, I'm all about our zone and our area, and yeah, getting the best out of that.
Is that maybe work against you potentially if other clubs do continue to recruit for the mainland?
No, I don't think so. No, I think you know, we've had 5 kids from our Ben Brown Academy play development league footy this year. 3 of them have been named in the best players. You know, and these are 15 and 16-year-olds. So I'm excited about giving them opportunities, and you know, there's talent amongst the group, and I don't want someone from Victoria who might come here for 1 or 2 years to take a spot of one of those guys who might come up. Because we've still got a good group of senior guys who hold down their spots. We've got to make sure there's opportunity for our young blokes as well. Now, it could be a few years down the track, you know, when some of our really experienced players have moved on. We've got some players playing in the VFL team. It could be at that point we might look to it to say, well, we do have a couple of holes in our list. We want some top-end experienced guys. Then I'm not saying we wouldn't go and do it at all, but in our current situation, our priority has to be giving young guys in our zone the opportunity to play because, you know, number one, they're not getting the opportunities for whatever reason in the state academy, and two, we've got a good bunch of senior players who will move on in the next 2 or 3 years, and we've got to make sure we've got the next lot coming through to replace them.